Shalom, shalom. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. This is not going to be a long presentation, but we want to talk about a particular subject. I am, for quote, all intents and purposes, have been, I am, and will be a said, quote, Old Testament based brother. This particular video will be addressing others who were claiming to be Old Testament based, if you will. The point in that is there are some who are saying we can't keep the law of the Old Testament outside of the land of Israel. That we must accept our punishment that we see in Deuteronomy 28 and in Leviticus 26. I remember conversing with some of those people, and one person was married and shown online happily married, but are saying we can't, in captivity or outside of the land, keep the Sabbath day or keep the laws because we need to accept our punishment. Part of the punishment, nonetheless, that you see in Deuteronomy 28, it says about the man and the woman, their eyes shall be evil toward one another. So if you're saying we cannot keep the laws and we should not be trying to front or act like we are keeping them, and that we need to accept our punishment, then how are you online with a smile with your spouse? It says in Deuteronomy 28, his eyes shall be evil toward her, and her eyes shall be evil toward him. But yet you as a couple saying we should accept our punishment are shown smiling. You ain't got no time to smile if you on the punishment, if you accepting it. What I've come to understand, brothers and sisters, is that people play games. And in light of that, the kind of games that people are playing is leading some others who lack understanding in certain things astray. In the Torah, for instance, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30. We're going to read in verse 1. And it says this. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Most High your King hath driven thee, and shall return unto the Most High your King, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul. That then the Most High your King will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Most High thy King hath scattered thee. So, brothers and sisters, it says when the things that come upon us, the blessing and the curse, and we call them to mind and return to the Most High and obey his voice. When we read in Exodus, it says, brothers and sisters, that Israel only heard a voice that was given the commandments from Mount Sinai. They didn't see a similitude. All they heard was a voice. The voice that said, I am the Lord thy God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and everything that we see in the book of Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20 in part tells us about the Sabbath. So again, if we understand that we are to obey the voice of the Most High? Why are there Israelites who are said to be so-called Old Testament based, but at the same token are saying we cannot keep the laws that's in the Old Testament? We must accept our punishment. People are not accepting their punishment. Who are you to say who is and is not accepting it on a Facebook Live or on YouTube when you don't know them from a hole in the wall outside of social media? That's how we know it's a game being played. It's a dangerous game that is being played, brothers and sisters. Let us go, if we will, to Leviticus chapter 26, verse 40. And it reads on this wise. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 40. And it says this. Pardon me. Let's go to Leviticus 26, verse 39. And they that are left of you shall pine away in their iniquity in your enemy's land, and also in iniquity of their fathers shall they pine away with them. Iniquity is a transgression of law, equated like unto a sin. So if it's telling you in Leviticus chapter 26, verse 39, about your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers, that means while you are still in your enemy's land, your deeds are still being accounted for. Being outside of the land of Israel does not give one a justification to say we can't keep the laws. Goes on to say this. If they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass, which they trespassed against me, and that they also have walked contrary unto me, and that I have also walked contrary unto them, and I brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept their punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. So we just want to point that out, that we have to be cognizant and call out to the Most High. I remember asking to the people who say that are said to be Old Testament based, we can't keep the Sabbath. We can't keep the Old Testament laws outside of the land of Israel. We should just cry out to the Most High. Is not the Sabbath the perfect time to come together and cry out? Not seeking your own pleasures, as it speaks of in Isaiah. Not doing any work, as it says in the book of Deuteronomy. So if you're saying that we should come together as a community and as a people and cry out to the Most High and confess what we as a people and what our ancestors did against the Most High, the Sabbath is a perfect time for that. But you're saying at the same token, we can't keep the Sabbath. Brothers and sisters, as pointed out, people are playing games. And these games are getting dangerous. Let's conclude with this portion right here. We're going to go to the book of Psalms, chapter 81, verse 10. So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. Psalms 81, verse 10 says this. I am the Lord thy God. I am Yah, your power, which hath brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Open your mouth wide, and I will fill it. But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Israel would none of me. So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels. They walked in their own counsels. Well, what would you do in captivity if somebody commits adultery? Because it says you stone them, and we can't stone them, so we can't keep the laws. What would you do if you have a stubborn and rebellious son in captivity? We got to ask, why is a man sleeping with another man's wife? Anyone who can teach that as a prelude to say we can't keep the law outside of the land, stay away from my lady, stay away from my daughter, because you have no kind of restraint. Lo tin af, thou shalt not commit adultery means nothing to you, because your example, so-called Old Testament brother or sister, is saying, well, what do you do when you commit adultery? That is similar when Messianic brothers and sisters ask us as Old Testament Israelites, what do you do when you sin? I don't want to eat your food. I just can't roll with you like that. Because now it's a lack of trust. Because we all know good and well what we're supposed to be doing as a people, Israel. So to ask another Israelite, what would he or she do in a matter of adultery? Or what do you do when you sin? As Messianic brothers and sisters frequently ask us as Old Testament Israelites, that's scary. You got some said Old Testament Israelites saying we can't keep the law. Then you got some who deem themselves as Messianic, and they're saying somebody died for them. So therefore, that blood was an atonement for anything that they have done, are doing, or will do. That's scary. Nobody's thinking about confessing their iniquity in many cases before the Most High. If one, you're saying you're in captivity, you can't keep the law, and two, you're up there saying that somebody done died for your iniquity already. Those principles are not what the Torah teaches. All right? Psalms 81 and verse 12 again. So I gave them up unto their own hearts' lust, and they walked in their own counsels. Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways. I should soon have subdued their enemies and turned my hand against their adversaries. Our adversaries are putting their foot and knees on our necks and backs, literally. Our adversaries are shooting us as we go shopping in the stores. Our adversaries are putting plunges inside of our behinds. Our adversaries are saying a man and a woman can be with the same gender. Our adversaries are killing us left and right. And you Israelites are supposed to be the light to the nations. And you're arguing left and right, saying someone died for you, so you won't have to do much of anything. And or you are said to be Old Testament based. And you're saying we ain't got to keep the law. Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways. I should soon have subdued their enemies and turned my hand against their adversaries. If your doctrine is not teaching what Isaiah taught about returning to the Most High, as we read in Deuteronomy 30 as well, your doctrine is off. If your doctrine is saying we can't keep the laws outside of the land, and we already went over examples of that in the scriptures, we cannot then tell our people what they need to do. The Most High gave us the solution already in the scriptures. You want to see this white man stop shooting you in the street under his badge? Return to the Most High. Stop playing these games. Stop playing the Messianic game. Stop playing we not in the land of Israel game. Stop it, because there's only one book that's teaching us to get back and right, and that's that Old Testament. Shalom.